Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. This is your home for organic Bible study that is fresh and delicious. You can't forget the delicious part. It's good for you. This is Bible study that's good for you. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Studying the Psalms verse by verse. That's our little elevator speech there. I'll give it in every elevator I can. And since I'm podcasting to you via the interwebs, I'm in every elevator that'll listen to me. Well, today we're going to be looking at 13 and 14. We have had in verses 10, 11, and 12 the precepts of prayer and trust, praise, and testimony. Now David takes those precepts and he applies them to himself. So he goes from precept to application, basically giving us a hands-on demonstration of what prayer and trust, praise, and testimony look like. Because he goes from the abstract or the third person, plural, this is what we should do, this is how we should be, this is what we should engage in, and now he's going to apply it to the first person. Notice verses 13 and 14. Be gracious to me, O Lord, look upon my affliction because of those that hate me. O you who raises me up from the gates of death, in order that I may recount all your praise. In the gates of the daughter of Zion I will rejoice in your salvation. So as I said, we are taking now the precepts that we learned in 10, 11, and 12. We're applying them here. Notice, be gracious to me, O Lord, look upon my affliction because of those who hate me. So I'm doing what here? What's David doing? He's praying. And what's he doing? He's making a request. Be gracious to me, O Lord, look upon my affliction because of those who hate me. Now, why would he use that language? Well, because the Lord does not forget the cries of the afflicted. So that's a promise. The Lord is not going to forget the cries of the afflicted. And what does David do immediately? In the very next verse, he applies the promise to his prayer. Be gracious to me. Well, he knows the Lord's going to be gracious to him because the Lord has promised not to forget the cries of the afflicted. Look upon the affliction because of those who hate me. Who are the ones that hate David? The bloody man. Who's the bloody man? Well, in this case, it could be Absalom. It could be a number of people. But David says, there's a bloody man out there. There's one who's afflicting me. Be gracious to me. And then notice, O you who raises me up from the gates of death. David must have felt like that he was right up against it, that if it wasn't for the Lord being on his side, he may be on his way to the grave. But he says, O you who raises me up. Who is the O you here? Who is the one we're talking about? We're talking about the Lord. Right there in verse 13, the first phrase, be gracious to me, O Lord. He's the one who raises David up from the gates of death. So David applies his prayer by way of the promise and makes it for us right here in verse 13. And then you'll notice verse 14, in order that I may recount all your praise. Well, this is step 2, isn't it? So we have step 1, the prayer based on trust. Step 2 is the singing to the Lord who dwells in Zion, in order that I may recount all your praise. So here he is singing, recounting the praise of the Lord. In the gates of the daughter of Zion, I will rejoice in your salvation. So there we have in 14 the testimony as well as the praise. So we had that in 12, we had it in 11, and we had it actually in 11 part 1 and 11 part 2, and here we have it reversed. We have the testimony, the recounting there in 14 part 1, in order that I may recount all your praise. That's the testimony piece. And the praise piece is in 14, I will rejoice in your salvation. So now he's praising the Lord for what the Lord has done. But notice that it's in the gates of the daughter of Zion. Isn't it marvelous how the Lord can take us from the gates of death there in 13 to the gates of Zion there in 14. Just like that. The Lord does that work. What a gracious God we serve. Join me tomorrow. We're going to look at verses 15 and 16 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.